All right. Let's see if anyone, I kind of went live a little bit early. Not sure if anyone's going to, how that works. If I go live and it's ahead of the time it says it's supposed to be. All right. Part 2. Gene, can you hear me, sir? Anybody in the chat? Can you guys? All right. Now it's working. Hey, technology. Hey, that's why you never quit, right? And you troubleshoot and you try to figure things out. I mean, I unplugged my mic like 4 different times, replugged in the USB stuff, redid it, even on the other side. Hey, what can you say? I mean, shit happens. Don't panic. Take a breath, stay calm, and then drive on. All right, here we go. So I guess for if anyone's wondering, like that was the weirdest intro to a video. Well, it's because we tried doing the live stream just a second ago, and on my side, my audio wasn't working. I could hear our guest, everything, but I couldn't get my audio back up to life. So, hey, if you weren't there for the beginning of that mini disaster, welcome to Centerline Systems. This is our Loadout Live. Whomever you are, where all you freedom loving boys and girls, whomever you are, wherever you are on this big blue marble, Centerline Systems, our Thursday night Loadout Live. Tonight, we're going to talk about the meat bag. We've got a very special guest. He's been on before. And if you're on Instagram, I mean, if you even see anything in your feed that you want to see on Instagram, maybe Mark Zuckerberg will, maybe, he had to go kiss the ring. Maybe he's going to change things over there. I don't know. I hope so. I mean, I really do hope so. But anyway, Mark, AKA Valley Reb, is over on Instagram as Valley Reb. Takes great photos, period piece photos, gear photos, outdoor stuff. He's putting on his hoodie. I got, hey, Mark, give me a quick heads up if you can hear me and you're kind of ready, getting ready. Okay. All right, boys and girls, here we go. I'm just going to read everybody's comments real quickly. Then we'll bring on Mark. All right, Gene, there you go. Woo, part 2. Learn me something. It's working. Hey, I got to give a quick shout out to Learn Me Something here in a couple seconds. So everybody just stay by or remind me to come back to that. We got Gene. Yep, that was the letting me know that he could hear me. Phil, nice to see you, Phil. He can hear us now over on X. I like that. Like seeing people over on Rumble or X. Not going to lie. ScrewTube is still ScrewTube. Angry Viking Veteran. Good to see you here tonight, sir. Yeah, yes, we finally have sound. Learn me something loud and clear. The Husky Bunch. Nice to see you over here. I like those pooches you got there. A bunch of Huskies. We have sound. Learn me something with damn technology. Angry Viking Veteran saying Lima Charlie, loud and clear. Gene, the great Valley Reb, awesome page. And then we got VTech Moonwalker. Hey, you got to dish it out where it's deserved. Hey, I'm not responsible for the technology though, VTech. But yeah, if this is the kind of quality I can come to expect, psha, psha. Hey, good to see you can join us here tonight. All right, let me bring on Valley Reb, you down there? You ready? All right. Well, actually, I got one piece of housekeeping, otherwise known as fluff. I just got to give Learn Me Something. See, I almost forgot. I got to give Learn Me Something a shout out. So over on our gear chat, Learn Me Something has been doing these small videos, cooking and fire starting kits and things of that nature. And he made the video, but it was too long for that software, I guess. So he's got to redo it. And he's making what's called coquito. Now, I've never heard of that before, but it's apparently a Caribbean coconut-based kind of eggnog, and as he emphasized, with lots of rum. So if you're into that kind of stuff, and if you want to come over to the gear chat, come over to get a Telegram account, and that's where we do a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff that we don't do over here. And I've just got to throw this in there. I'm big into barbecue, right? I like cooking animal flesh over flames. Or charcoal, however you want to say that, right? But I have a cousin. So, like, matter of fact, if Sasquatch gets me and breaks me in half and kills me, my cousin is kind of my, my heir beneficiary. He takes everything over to include Centerline Systems and all this jacked up communication stuff that we got going on here tonight. I'm going to blame him. But he kind of just taught me how to, I've never done this before. So I pan fried a steak and I did a reverse sear. I cooked the steak for just a little bit in my air fryer and then the final searing over in a pan. And I'm here to tell you, boys and girls, because it's like, 20, 30 below here. So the whole barbecue is kind of like on pause right now. That's a pretty damn good steak. That came out really good. So I'm going to be doing more of that. So, and I'll probably share some of that stuff over on the Telegram on the gear chat. That's why I brought it up. All right, Mark, you ready? I just had to talk food. Let's ready to come on over. All right. I can't hear you, but I saw you laugh. So there we go.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, we got you now, my good man. We got you now.
Good,
all right.
good.
Mark, you know the deal. You've been on here before. Promote yourself, Smoking Rabbit, whatever you want to do, say hi, and then we shut up and get into it. And let everybody know a little bit about who you are and why in the heck, how much I bribed you to be here tonight. I guess you could tell them that too.
It's unsolicited. Right. So yeah, Mark, Valley Reb, Instagram, owner of the Smoking Rabbit. And love history, love recreating history, do living histories all over the place. Yes, that's the
and just like a comic book geek, I'm not taking it out of its wrapper, so it increases in its value as time goes on.
It will. Yeah, so living historian. I've done Civil War, Rev War, French and Indian War. War's kind of been a theme in my family. We've had guys fighting since the Revolutionary War in our family line. And actually, that's one of the things that kind of sparked the genesis of this meat bag idea is my...
yeah, you look at the light there you go. Yeah, just tilt it a little bit because it's getting some reflection. All right, that's pretty badass right there.
So that's my great-grandfather. He served in the Meuse-Argonne offensive in France during World War I. And I have some of his kit. And the kit is, part of that kit is this meat bag. And then in World War II, they came out with another one. But
hey, just take it back a second. So again, you got the World War I. Yeah, okay, so they can see it side by side. But that was a piece of issued gear. The one as we're looking at it, my right, your left is, yeah, that's World War I. And then the other one, that has more of the kind of, webbing tie down. That's World War II. The snap is World War I.
Yep.
And what is it that the guys were using that? The boys, the doughboys, the mud feet. How are they using that? Don't break that snap.
Doughboys.
Yep.
Well, in his kit, he had his mess kit. And on the inside of this bag, it's kind of cool because it has a little sleeve for your issued spoon, and then a sleeve for your butter knife.
Hey, and just if you don't mind, real quickly before you go forward, somebody sent me one of the World War II knives, and you can sharpen those things down and actually get seriously, that's not just a butter knife, boys.
No, it's a weapon. This thing it's still sharp. And I've never sharpened it, and it's still got an edge on it.
Yeah. So don't just think a butter knife. I mean, you actually can cut meat and everything with the one, the one I have anyway. So sorry, Mark.
Poke your eye out with it.
Well, you could do that with a stick though, too.
Yeah. So this was basically the genesis for the.
But what other type of items did the guys put in there?
Oh, yeah. So you've got your fork, your knife, and your cutlery, right? Oh,
yeah. There you go. It's always backwards.
There you go. So that was World War I issued cutlery.
And then you would have your
fancy. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, geez, is that sterling?
Yeah, it's even got engravings on it.
Well, we didn't want to go into war looking like a bunch of hip, hobos and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it's even got the 1918 stamps on the back of it.
Jeez, nice.
Yeah.
And then the tin that you had, that was the World War I mess kit then. So this was like their mess bag, right? Their food bag.
Yeah. And then they would put their meat or whatever, butter, rations they wanted to keep safe. They keep it in that, and then that would lock down, and then that would go inside the bag. So the bag didn't get completely greasy, messy, but
right. But as you were saying then, so like the genesis of the meat bag that we're going to talk about is really Mark reached out. Mark, actually, I saw you did a picture of something once. How did this all start again?
Yeah, I think we were just talking about bags, and I showed you one when we were talking once, and I shot you some pictures, sent it over to you, and you're like, oh, hey, you might be onto something there.
Those guys in World War I might have known what they were doing.
Well, and it's not a full-size haversack, and it's not.
So don't call it one.
And we won't call it one.
Yeah, that's been my thing, because some people say, hey, nice haversack. Hey, no offense, I know what you're saying, but don't call it a haversack. It's a meat bag.
No, it's not a haversack.
Yeah, it's not a haversack.
It's much more than that. It's meaty. Yeah, so that turned into this. And it's a great bag. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say maybe tilt it down a tad bit. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Yeah. So you want me to go through the bag, or do you want me to talk?
Yeah. Why don't we do it? I wasn't sure if, how you wanted to go, but let's just jump right into it. Let's just do your loadout and go from there.
Yeah. So,
but before one last thing, before we do it though, just like anything, how you use it is up to you. I've used mine a bunch. I'm not going to lie, because it's wintertime, and I've used mine a handful of times for concealed carry, and it's kind of like a everyday bag. I've thrown my everyday organizer in there, my handgun, medical, whatever you want to do. So, I mean, it doesn't just have to be, remember, we're just trying to give you guys ideas on how you can use it. So, and then before you start, just one last quick shout out, because he came in here and I want to just acknowledge everybody. Alpha Omega Survival Supplies in the house. Hey there, gents. Woo! Nice. Glad you could join us. All right, Mark, take us through. And then if you don't mind, also the thought process of why you've done it why you've loaded it out the way you've loaded it out.
Okay. I've spent the last 20 some years doing living histories in different time periods. So I've gotten really used to living out of a bag, whether it's a haversack or pouch or whatever. I've gotten very accustomed to working out of it and living out of it. And so that's kind of what this has turned into. And because it's got all these, it's got MOLLE, and you can do different attachments with it. I can attach other bags to this real quickly. If I've got another one where I can put magazines on the outside of the bag. It's small enough so that when it's on your shoulder and you throw your coat on, you can actually just have it underneath of your coat, and it's just sitting there, and then you can rip it open and get into it and do whatever you want to do, right? But having the flexibility to be able to add and accessorize the outside of it for whatever you're doing that day or whatever your mission is for whatever, that's really, really handy. Really like that a lot, and have done a lot with that. Like I said, I'll keep extra magazines, especially on the outside, so I can just yank them. So then you get into the bag, right? And the bag's built basically around, I don't know, a day trip, adventure, Indiana Jones kind of bag to kind of just get you through the basic stuff, and just to have some room to throw things in there if you need to. So,
I do think though, before you go, anytime you say Indiana Jones, somebody has to go dun 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 dun. I think that's kind of written in, that's just part of, you have to do that. Not for Indiana Jones 3 or 4, but for the first Indiana Jones. Dun 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 dun. I
watched it last night because I was getting ready for this. Well, yeah, he uses that British gas mask bag, but this is where it's at.
All right, so, start us off.
So paracord.
Hey, hold it up. That was too fast. Let everybody see what you got there. That's a pretty big hank of cord, man.
25 feet, or, throw in a little 10-foot piece. Little puck pouch I've turned into my first aid kit. So I got to have that because I'm prone to accidents.
And you carry sharp things.
I do carry sharp things, and they get me in trouble sometimes. Little snacks. And then this is a Lockbee journal, waxed canvas journal. So take notes, whatever. I like to journal a lot. So
is that a moleskin notebook in there?
It is a moleskin notebook on the inside.
Those are pretty damn good. Yep, those are good.
Yeah, so I like to journal. I like to take notes of where I'm at and what I'm doing and things I'm learning along the way, so I don't forget them. It's kind of old school to write down in a book, but
as people say, in today's day and age, if you want to write in code, all you have to do is write in cursive.
Oh, that's a fact, because my mom had written my daughter-in-law a letter on her birthday, and it was in cursive, and she said, "Can you read this to me?" I was like, oh my gosh, I weep for humanity. Little bag, little poke sack for tinder to start fires with.
That's a pretty substantial tinder bag right there.
It's pretty, squishy.
But I mean, but you got a good amount of gear. I mean, or fire starting material in that thing. That's not
chunk of fat wood. And then a little Sammy bag that I made.
Now, speaking of Raiders of the Lost Ark, that looks about the appropriate size to fill with sand to make the statue switch.
That's what I was thinking when I watched the movie. I'm like, hey, And then inside of this, just some of the basics: a compass, Leatherman wave, lighter, best flint and steel ever made.
Damn right. Hey, before you go any further, let me just ask, having a little fun just on that, because and I'm not picking on anyone, and I'm saying this tongue in cheek with a smile on my face, but because I always like kind of giving. I'm not saying giving people shit, but it's a thing. It's a popular thing to do bow drill, right? Everybody talks about bow drill. And I just, as tongue in cheek, just giving people a hard time, I always say, if you went back in time and you gave bow drill humans flint and steel, which one do you think they would take? And everybody's forced to say, well, of course they would take flint and steel. And if you went back in time and gave flint and steel a Bic lighter, which one do you think they would take? I mean, it's good to have all those things, that redundancy, but I like how you just said it. And especially if you get the lighters with that it's set up. So even if your fingers were losing dexterity and they're super cold, I mean, you can get that thing, right? And
all you got to do is pop that little safety out of there.
Yeah. I mean, again, so I don't want anyone to say, oh, he's bad mouthing bow drills. No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I love bow drilling, but I mean, let's face it, when I'm life and death and I got to get a fire going, I want one now.
Yeah.
I might not have the dexterity or the strength to rig a bow and spin up a coal, but
or the time necessary to do it.
Sure, so I can thumb that.
Yeah, right.
So.
All right, how many more clowns?
Very underrated piece of equipment.
How many more clowns do you have in that bag?
How many more what?
How many more clowns do you have in that bag?
A couple more. You got my flashlight, rechargeable, and then some chocolate for energy, whatever. And then inside the bag, it's got a waterproof interior.
Did you just pull out a pair of gloves?
I did. So
those were in there too?
Gloves are in there too. And pencil. And then in the side pockets, like in the World War I bag, you got sleeves that run down the gussets of the bag on the inside. And so then I keep a spork in one of those, and then on the other one I keep my flashlight and pencil for right now. But
and I just want to kind of point out to everybody. So when Mark, had shared those photos, and we were, again, kind of got on talking about it. He sent me the two versions, and when we were discussing this, I think the decision was it has to have those side gussets. Because and I've got mine, and I'll show just a couple different things, but it's such a great use of that space, and it doesn't interfere with the interior. I don't think so. Anyway, we'll get Mark's opinion.
Not
but
at
that's
all.
where you're putting that that could have been a filtration straw, a chem light, an EpiPen, whatever it is. It's just a nice place to have something that you might not need all the time, but you want to know exactly where it is and be able to access it, pretty damn quickly. Like if you were eating food, you don't want to be digging around for your spoon. You want to know exactly where it is.
Yeah, and that was one of the really cool things that I liked about the World War I bag.
Yeah.
So
now I kind of I almost would want you to kind of go backwards and just hold it up. I mean, well, there's more to talk about on the bag itself, but yeah, but go ahead, keep going. What is that you got on the front? Looks like just a little carabiner.
The little titanium carabiner.
Rock and roll. And then a smoking rabbit patch where it needs to go.
Yeah. And I actually use that to kind of keep the bag in place when it's riding on my hip.
Gotcha.
A belt loop so that when I'm bending down or swinging around, the bag isn't coming around and trying to tackle me.
Hey, and everybody just pause right there real quickly. I did a video a long time ago on exactly what Mark is talking about. So when, if you get a piece of our gear, I always use shock cord and a shock cord keeper for our hanging tags. I mean, you do you if you want to throw that away, but that's another just real easy way, or an S-beaner, or what Mark just did, because it's gravity. I had somebody say to me a long time ago, well, but the only problem is when I bend forward, I'm like, yes, that's called gravity, but if you can secure it. Mark just came up with one way. I know that video is still on my ScrewTube channel someplace. Yep. An S-beaner. There's a bunch of different ways, to use it. And then
it's a game changer for using these, because that's the pain, right? As it swings around when you're doing stuff, but this locks.
I was talking over you. Go ahead and start that all over again.
Yeah, so that's a game changer. I mean, for anything that you've got over your shoulder, right? It's just to lock it down on your belt or your belt loop. Because that's always been the pain for me about haversacks, is that when I'm in action mode and this thing is trying to tackle me the whole time, it makes me really hate it. But this changed everything for me, and I really enjoy using my bags now.
And so everybody, that's not just my gear. That's anything over the shoulder. So just a little like inside baseball or a little TTP, tactic, technique, and procedure. Yep, like that. And there's all kinds of, you can already see there's a multitude of ways to do it. But if you don't know that little technique or trick, definitely look into it, because, if you're just walking with it, you're not being super aggressive, in your outdoor experience, hunting or whatever, and you're kind of taking it nice and easy. It's going to stay put and it's not going to move around. And then if you got a belt, set of belt gear, you can even
if you bend down, right, it's still going to come flying forward. And it's a hassle.
So it is a nice, but now another one though, if you want to do it, is that I've also used on my Scout, I've used the Molly, one of the straps in the back, and I just ran it through one of my belt loops.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea too.
So you could do that too. And so you're not putting all the weight on the Molly. You just have the Molly coming through. It'll still move a little bit, but it's going to lock it in place and secure it.
Oh yeah, it's going to shift around, but it's not going to try and knock you out.
Well, and with as much gear as you just had in that bag, it probably would give you a concussion. I mean, geez.
I'm working on my second hernia.
Bump. Thank God for the first one. Where'd the first one go, or whatever?
Can't say enough good things about this. This has quickly become one of my favorite everyday bags. And I'm not just saying that. I use it a lot.
And I got to just give you props. I got to get off my ass and get back on Instagram and start posting more. And actually, I just was on again the other day for the first time in a while. And, you know, there's some other people out there crushing it and doing some cool, you know, having fun in the outdoors. But I mean, I'm not going to lie. I really do like your pictures, and you've got some cool ones of the meat bag. Yeah,
I just put one up today.
Oh, really?
The World War II, World War I, and this together.
Ah, well, thank you for advertising. I was working all the way up until where I sent you that link. So, and then I apparently screwed something up because my audio didn't work. You know, the hell.
Yep.
All right, what else you got for us here then on that bad boy?
That's about it for what I'm doing with it.
All right, so let me just add, and I want to get your thoughts on this. And well, here, let me just read some comments, and then I'm going to come over onto my side, just kind of show how I have mine. Hey, don't put your stuff away. I almost want you to do a reverse, just showing everybody one more time what you had in there. Okay, so here we go. So Alpha Omega is where I left off. All right, we've got a couple from Gene, a man bag with the history to back it up, and then Gene's trying to plug for his naming convention potential win or his entry, the PCP for his snacks. I don't know if you saw the video on the little organizer thing I'm doing, Mark, but and then final one from Gene. The bag is awesome. Valley Reb is as bad as. Okay, I get it. This is a good comment. He's saying you had as much stuff in your bag as John, aka Gimli, pulled out of one of his bags. So, like the two of you guys, that's why I did the clown card comment. I'm like, he kept pulling stuff out, and you just kept pulling. You know, I'm like, you know, and God bless it. I'm living vicariously. You know, I can't really even. I'm still at like 20 pounds is my weight restriction right now. So, you know, you definitely probably had close to 20 pounds in that thing. I mean, that was, well, maybe not, but that was a lot of gear. All right. Yeah. So let's take it back, if you don't mind, just so everybody can see one more time. You can just do it quickly, but just, you don't even have to pack it up, but just bring all the gear back one more time, and then we're going to go into a different direction.
Okay. So we got gloves, Leatherman Wave, flashlight, lighter, pencil, fat wood, compass, grub, ferro rod. Now that went into the Sammy bag. Tinder, journal, IFAC, and cord.
And a spork inside of there.
And a spork inside the bag.
Yeah. Okay. That's, boys and girls, I'm really proud that we were able to come close to replicating, you know, that World War I bag. I mean, and you just think about it, you know, if you're a guy, a doughboy, a grunt, you know, out in the field, you know, in the trenches, in the mud, and the, you know, that's a lot. I mean, you know, Mark Valley Reb's got it set up for, you know, more of his outdoor adventures and stuff, but, you know, who knows how those guys use those bags, you know, because, you know, just like anything, you know, and a bunch of you guys who are veterans know the same thing. You know, your M17A1 Pro Mass carrier, you know, those were pillows, you know, you filled those full of food.
I have a letter from my great granddad where he said, we just got gassed by the Germans, and I'm using my mess kit bag to write you this letter. So he was writing it while he had his gas mask on, and he had this bag, his mess kit out, and he was writing a letter to somebody waiting for the gas to die down.
Oh, so that was like his writing surface?
Yeah. So he just turned the bag over and started using that to write on.
Okay. See, that's some pretty badassery right there. That's some cool stuff. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, I don't have much to add to what Mark did. Mark, so you get it. How you use it, it's really up to you. But I think, you know, the point of these loadouts is to show you and just maybe get your ideas, you know, your brain juices flowing. But, you know, me selfishly as a business is, you know, to have these other great men and women come on. So it's not just me talking, you know, who are out there using it and just so you can, what's that?
Testifying.
Yeah. But also just showing, you know, because I mean, there's no better way for me as a small business. You know, I can do all the pictures on the website in the world. It's never the same thing as actually, you know, oh my God, that guy had that much stuff in that bag. Now, Mark, Valley Reb and I are both kind of doing the same thing. Like I have mine. I've got one of our utility pouches on the front. You could put, and I don't know, the concealment caddy or magazine holder, whatever you do, right? But there's, you can put on the outside what you want. There's Velcro there. I mean, not Velcro, there's Molly. I've got a chem light just off to the side and a little retention thing. That's all I end up carrying mine. Nothing on the other side. Now, I took my shoulder strap off so I could just show everybody and manipulate this a little bit easier. But these are, you may have heard me talk about before, these are the chasm buckles. So there's a bar across the top, a bar across the bottom. There's only one slit and they're on opposite sides of each other. These can come off, but you gotta really work for it, right? They're not easy on, easy off. But if you don't want your shoulder strap on there, this is a loop, to accommodate this. And that could be another place where you could do a carabiner and have gloves or something hanging off of it. The backside, you got the Molly. I mean, you don't have to shoulder carry this. You could Molly it. You could have this on the backside of your car seat, put it on your rucksack, on the side or something like that, to get at your, whatever, your notebooks or whatever, your C4. Man, dang it. I wish I was still back in the game. I am almost positive, Mark, and I'd have to sit and kind of just think about it, but how many blocks of C4 you could get in one of these things. And I'm really kind of saying that seriously. Like, think of a satchel charge, if you're a military. What's that?
4 or 5.
Yeah. I mean, like, so, if that's how you needed to use it and you're just carrying your demo on it, I mean, you could easily, you could have, well, anyway, I digress. But here's what I kind of wanted to show off.
Up with C4, put the cap in it and fling the whole bag, right?
That's kind of what I'm talking about,
Satchel bomb.
Satchel charge, right?
Yep.
All right. And then, so mine, I just have loaded up just for tonight, just for a prop. Again, I've been carrying mine differently. My everyday organizer or my handgun will go in there. I'll carry concealed. Oh, and by the fact that I've said handgun here, it's too far. My training pistol's too far away. I'm noticing that if I say handgun or show my training pistol for something, I get hate. Like people don't like that. So, hey, maybe you'll like this. I just wanted to show off the inside a little differently. So you can see here, well, actually I'll go up here. So that's a Mora knife, and that's in that, that little side pocket that we were talking about. So there, I got orange on orange, but you can slip a knife inside there, in its sheath, if it's like that Mora size. And then if you can kind of see in here, I have, and if you're going out into the woods, so that's what you see in here. These are props. So there are 3, going the wrong way. 1, 2, 3 black boxes in there. And there's still a ton of space. I still have over 3 inches of internal storage space. So think about your sleeve of crackers or your summer sausage or your cheese or all the above. And then 3 things of wine. I mean, there's a lot of room in there. That's a lot of carrying capability. And then last but not least, I kind of did the same thing Mark did, just so everybody could see it. So I'm kind of just pulling out. Well, I thought I was going to pull it out. All right. That's what you said. Thank you. I was waiting for somebody. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Somebody's got to chime in with that. And then I've got one of heavy cover sporks just kind of tucked in there, just so you can kind of see it. But
you're talking about concealed carry. There you go.
Yeah, seriously. And and there's a rear internal. That's what we forgot to talk about.
That's what it's sitting in. Is it sitting in the rear pocket?
Yeah, there's an internal rear slip pocket for notebooks, map sheets, and a little D-ring, if you want to put your keys or whatever you wanted on there. Or maybe that's where you're putting your handgun. So as you reach in, you're just coming to the back of the bag, sliding your hand down, and then you're right there on top of your handgun and coming up. It's not designed to be a concealed carry bag. It doesn't have an external entry point, and there's not an internal, tie down. But it can be used that way, right? If you're going to use it for like an everyday carry type of bag. Again, it is not a haversack. It's a meat bag. And it's really, I hate to say it. I wish there was more female customers who've purchased this, because I'd like to hear some testimony from females on how this works for them as just like an everyday bag, right? Like their use of it, like, hey, I really like it. It, works for me, look, and guys, I mean, like, are you afraid to walk around with this over your shoulder? I don't know about you. Whenever I've done it, I've noticed people like looking over me, and not like I'm a weirdo, which, and not admiring my beard, which they are, but they're looking at like, what the hell is that over his shoulder? Like, that's pretty fucking
That's
cool.
what I've actually had people like at Walmart or whatever. They'll come up to me and go, "What is that?" And I get to show it to them, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, go check it out. Very useful bag." And even with everything in it, it's still slim.
Yeah. And that's the thing, it's not bowing out like this and it turn into a big sausage roll. It's still, you're still stacking it. You're still access it. You can still access it, and it's keeping a pretty nice profile.
Yeah, it really does.
All right, here we go. A couple little comments, and then I want to, Mark, do you got time to hang out for a couple minutes? I kind of want to pick your brain on just one or two things, not getting into the CLS after dark, but maybe kind of just asking you some of your thoughts on, some of the things. Okay. All right, here we go. Some comments. Oh, okay. I got to get to something here in a second. Sexy ATAC again from Gene.
ATAC is awesome.
Well, okay. So here, inside baseball for everybody here on
Looks
the live stream.
like Rebel Alliance indoor camo.
Yeah. Well, I got to share a little story then real quickly. So Clint from Nemesis Camo, before we went live, had sent me a text, and I was busy doing stuff. And I can't say anything more than this, but it was one of those like, God dang it. Now, why did you show that to me? What did I do to make you mad? I'm sorry. But ATACs, I've got to make one of these in ATACs as well. I mean, so again, there's just some really cool camouflage patterns. Again, this is Forest Moon of Endor shit right here. That's what it always reminds me of, as you said, Valley Reb. Yeah. But ATACs, and then, again, and I'm sorry, Nemesis, and Clint sent me this message, and I can't talk. I know that I'm being kind of a dick, but I can't talk about it. But I was just like, oh, fuck, I want one of all of those things. So anyway, and then Steve.
Take my money.
Steve came in. I've got a bunch of stuff in my meat bag. Hey, Steve, if you want to pop over here, if you ever want to come on as a guest and do a loadout, you're more than welcome. And by the way, I've got this list of jokes, and I'm going to start.
He's not being sarcastic.
Well, hey, that maybe you do you. Maybe your brain went there. I did actually. I actually just took that as a general comment. I didn't go in that direction. I'm still just sipping wine. I'm not really there yet. So. And then Gene just says, with your CCW, he's not angry, just jealous. Yeah, well, yeah, Roger Dodger. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't want to pick on any other country or anything like that. Again, you guys got to figure it out for yourself. But, there's just sometimes where you're just like, oh, my God, what is going on here? Like, how is this possible? But anyway, hey, I'm going to start including jokes. Well, I'm going to save this for the end of the live stream. So I've got a gentleman, and I think I've said his name before, but now I just want to hesitate just a second. I'm pretty sure I've got permission, but sends me jokes and text message, always makes me laugh. And I'm going to end every podcast, with one of the jokes. They're just total dad jokes. I mean, just corny as hell, but that's what makes them funny and awesome. So, all right. Hey, we're going to take Mark, take next 10, 15 minutes. Let's kind of maybe switch gears and kind of talk about what the hell just happened and where we're going.
Okay.
From your perspective.
America. 100%, man. So grateful for the election that we just had. So grateful God saved that man from the assassin's bullet.
And the second one.
And
that we know of.
Right? And the third and fourth attempt in the Capitol building as well, where they had a guy with machetes and knives and another guy with bombs out in his car. So crazy stuff. Grateful.
Mark and I were just talking, what was about a week ago, and and I'm not getting into the CLS after dark. We'll do this a little bit tomorrow, but I was really kind of fearful. And I know but different. There's people out there like, oh my God, I'm so afraid what's going to happen to our country. I was afraid of the violence and possible terrorism that was going to take place, and we wouldn't. And then really, what would we be at that point in time, right? Like things would be totally wrong. And I just got to tell you, and I'm kind of maybe coming at this tonight, guys, because Thursday, this is Centerline Systems specifically. As a small business owner, there's so much damage that has to be undone, and it's not going to just happen tomorrow. This is going to take time. And and look, you can have your own political leanings and perspectives, whatever. My only counterpoint to that would be, as long as you can cogently articulate your perspective and why you think this is better. Yeah, all day long. That's what we're supposed to do. But, not talking to relatives or wanting to kill people because they voted a different way. And you could sit there and say, oh, well, he's Hitler and all that kind of crap. Like, well, why didn't he do it the first time? So Mark, turning it back over to you, again, from a gear perspective, I think everybody's like, oh, because, gear and training and preparedness are usually always like the last things. They're not sexy, right? Everybody wants to do CQB and all this other kind of stuff. But I really do believe we dodged a bullet. And and on that note, and some people didn't dodge bullets. And there's people still over in your neck of the woods who are living in tents, who haven't gotten the aid they needed. And there's people out in California. We can make all the jokes about, California all we want, but those are human beings, our fellow citizens, who now are like, notice, like, dude, how many people are just wandering around aimlessly living in tents out in California right now, like refugees?
Well, it's like Trump said. He said, there's the wildfires out in California, and some of the richest, most powerful people are without homes. And then he paused and he said, think about that. Just because you're rich and powerful doesn't mean you are immune to the stuff that's going on around you. It affects every single person, no matter what class in society you are in.
Yeah. A fire, a blizzard, a hurricane doesn't give a shit about your politics.
No, it doesn't care. Mother Nature doesn't care about anybody but herself. She's a narcissistic biatch, and she will tear you up and not.
Oh yeah, and she's like definitely.
I've been there and lived through some of that, and it ain't fun, man.
Yeah, she's definitely boss level. Bad. Yeah. She's boss level shit right there.
Oh,
yeah. If you want to make fun of like Disney and all the girl boss movies, no, Mother Nature is the hands down the only real girl boss out there. I mean, plain and simple. Yeah. So so whether it's a meat bag, a mother canteen care, whether it's political disarray, I'm not joking. The reason I'm kind of saying that is because I thought it was going to go down differently. And we're not, knock on wood, nothing bad happens. I mean, yeah, we're not anywhere out of the woods. Again, hurricanes, look, the polar vortex that's going through. I mean, that's affecting power grids. There's people down in the South, seeing snow for the first time in their life, and all that kind of crap. You don't get to pick and choose when these moments happen. You have to be, again, I don't understand, Mark, where preparedness became a bad word. Isn't that more like the adult thing you should be? Like, hey, man. I
think it got weaponized because it was part of the right. And a lot of the guys that were in the right leaning were preppers and survivalists. And so I think that just got weaponized by the left as, oh, you're a prepper. That's terrible. You're a crazy psycho person for getting ready for things. And it's like, really? Because when the crap hits the fan and I'm sitting back sucking on a hot cocoa while you're, it's like, I'd rather be prepared than not prepared. And it isn't just being prepared. We've talked about this before, but train with what you have, right? Train with your gear so you know how to use it. You're not just packing it away and then you pull it out for the very first time when things are going down. That's the worst time to start learning how to use it.
Yeah.
So when things are at peace and you've got time to think through things and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, get rid of it, carry something around in a bag and see if you actually use it. If you don't, get rid of it. It's just that kind of thing where you've got to just constantly every day be thinking about it and how and what you're going to do. And, situational awareness too. What's going on around you? Keep your head on a swivel. pay attention when you're walking around. Don't look at your phone. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Just simple things like that. You get into your car, lock the door. It's
Well, and even just on the situational awareness, when you're in an urban environment, how this is loaded up might be one way. And then if you're going out into a rural, like a wilderness environment, like, do you need to carry? Yeah, you're changing it. Like, cause maybe you don't need to carry, like if you were out in the woods and you were doing a 10-mile hike, whatever, this bad boy or whatever you put on the outside, that might be your fire starting kit. Cause that's really important to you in case you do get lost, right? Or something happens. Oh, and there's tie downs on the bottom. So maybe you attach a tarp, because if something does go bad, a tarp doesn't weigh hardly anything. You're not, adventure racing, ultralighting it. A tarp would be a great thing to have, right? And well, even if you're just having the picnic, you might want the tarp to sit on or to be a windscreen or a sun. Exactly, right?
I just have a little doohickey bag that I tie underneath of it, and it just holds odds and ends.
Yeah, so you wouldn't necessarily have that in your urban environment for your day-to-day, but if you spend a lot of time in the woods. So again, I guess kind of plug in my company, what we're trying to make in gear. Like I think this came out great, and I'm really appreciative that Valley Reb, took the time out of his day and his money, sent me those bags so I could examine them, the World War I and World War II. And, our design is just a little bit different. I wanted to have squared away bottoms. I didn't want to have rounded bottoms. And that's really about it. But size wise, width and everything, it's pretty damn close. And then we used a different closure system. And there's, we have a reason for that too, because as you can see, Mark really has that bag stuffed full of gear, and that Velcro gives him a little bbit more purchase. Yeah. Whereas you're really like a button. And I've done a couple meat bags where people didn't want the Velcro and they wanted snaps. The problem with that, as Valley Reb, is like, well, then that's where the lid is going to be. And it's only going to go there. And if you can't stuff it beyond that. So,
No, I mean, I could, like you're saying, I could close it here,
Yep.
or, so I've got all this real estate to where I can overload the bag if I needed to.
Yeah. Well, and so that's
or cinch it down tight so it, nothing comes out of it either.
Well, and that, yeah, when it is on, yeah. I mean, I guess you could maybe lose like an M&M or something if you had loose M&Ms in there. But if you had loose M&Ms in there, you deserve to lose them anyway. Like, seriously. But I
guess you could put the M&Ms in there and then kind of just use it as a spout to dump them in your mouth, right?
Yeah. I suppose you could, but now that you just did it that way, I would probably do some like just bladder with a hose, like, for like a Camelback, fill that full of wine. And then I could just have that hose coming up and I could just be sipping on wine while I was taking my nice little nature hike, through the woods.
Bladder.
Hey, let me just, we had a couple new comments. Let me just do that. And then I'm going to get back over to you. Because again, I apologize. That may have started off kind of sounding a little political, but it's not. You can vote for whoever the hell you want to vote for. I don't care. And I don't hold it against you. It'll only be if you present a really, obviously, fabricated or debunked type of, well, that's not, again, you don't have to like Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump isn't my savior. I have one savior. It's Jesus Christ, the Lord, my Lord and Savior. That's it. Donald Trump's a man just like anyone else. And he's got pros and cons, and just so does everybody. Right now, I think his pros, the column for pros, are kind of stacking up pretty damn good. And but again,
when we get
you. And so, but that isn't necessarily a point. But like when that was happening, so again, in the preparedness, that's maybe where I was really trying to go, Mark, is, I was like, okay, you got to recharge all your battery operated things or your chargeable things. Make sure you got water, make sure you know where your gear is. Hey, I don't know what's going to happen when I go downtown to do this. So be prepared for riots or whatever the case may be. That's what I was really just kind of getting at. And it's the same thing. Sorry, there was a comment that just came in. And it's the same thing when it comes to the outdoors. There is no such thing as, I'm just going for a walk in the woods. As you kind of said, Mother Nature is going to be like, oh, really? Okay, maybe I'll let you slide this. Mother Nature. Okay, here, I'm a geek.
People have died taking a walk in the woods.
So I was going to say, Mother Nature grabs her 20-sided die and rolls it. And then, whether you live or die, yeah, I'm just going for a walk. Well, that's the day you don't come home, right? because Mother Nature rolled a 1 or a 2 or whatever the die roll would be for that, you know. All right, here we go. Comments, and then I'm going to come back to you for your final comments on that, where we were kind of going again, the mindset, the being prepared, you know, and having a piece of gear. Like, there's nothing complicated. This is my last plug for us. Using this, assembling this, you know, there's nothing complicated, but this damn thing, you know, you should be given to your kids, your grandkids. This thing should be you know, this isn't going to fall apart. This isn't some cheap Chinese ass made crap by slave labor and anything like that. And you know, I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm going to be on that roll this year, by the way, Valley Reb. Yeah. I'm just tired of like, oh, I believe in this and I'm of this and I'm that. Like, why are you buying all your shit from China then? Well, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, another horrible argument, but all right, here we go. Comments. Sorry, I digress. I think we left right here. Hannah Ben. Yeah, this was a while ago. She was kind of saying, just visiting, glasses in the utility pouch, slippers, Coke, Snickers in the meat bag. Right. So yeah, again, how you use it. Learn me something. DJT definitely kicking ass right now. I concur. Good man. He walked out, and Gene walked out and immediately began kicking ass. We need someone in this useless country to do this the same. I thought Keir Stormer was your guy over there, Gene. Thought he was kicking ass. That's a bad joke. Don't hate me. Not EDC, more everyday use. Yeah, everyday carry, everyday use. Learn me something. Mega for across the pond. Yeah. Actually, learn me something. I think Elon or somebody was doing make Europe great again. Oh no, that's not mega. Yeah, I read it wrong. My brain thought mega, but no. Or maybe it's my northern accent. You can't tell if I'm saying mega or mega. Like, seriously, Mark, for the longest time in my life, I didn't realize that I was saying instead of saying to thaw something, I was saying to what did I used to say? Defrost. Or not defrost, I mean de-thaw. I said like the exact opposite for 30 years of my life until somebody was like, you do know that you're actually saying that you want to freeze it.
Freeze it again.
Yeah, to de-thaw is to freeze it. You know, like, no, you thaw it or defrost it. De-thawing something would be to freeze it. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we all grew up weird, right? You know, so, and then Gene saying, learn me something a shout out, damn straight. Learn me something saying, hey, Gene, we can always sponsor you for dual citizenship. And then VTEX picking up what I was putting down. If you're losing M&Ms, it's already a bad day. Damn right. All right, Steve, I got to check that out. And then he's heading off tomorrow, bringing a bunch of centerline with him. All right, great job, my good man. All right, Valley Reb, where do you want to go? We got about 10 minutes. I'm going to end it with a joke from somebody, and then what do you got? Where do you want to go? You want to plug something? You want to talk about just preparedness and mindset? What do you want to do, sir?
I don't know. Let's talk Panama.
Okay. What do you got?
When I was a kid, my granddad was in command of the Air Force Base there on the Canal Zone. So I was able he flew me down and spent a couple of weeks there in the Canal Zone. And I was really kind of bummed when we ended up giving that away, and because of all the history there, right? Because of so many of our people who gave their lives to help build that canal. And it really is a beautiful area. I mean, the Canal Zone is gorgeous, right? It's just this misty kind of jungly place. And I was really excited to hear that, we're thinking about reinstating the terms of our agreement. And, if certain countries can't abide by the terms of the agreement, then we're going to take it back.
Well,
it's a strategic spot in the world, kind of like the Suez Canal in the Arabian Peninsula, right?
I don't know what you're doing tomorrow night, but you might want to watch, because that's definitely going to come up tomorrow, because there's a lot of people who are trying to badmouth that. And look, and I'm not into,
hey man,
I'm not into foreign conflicts. We don't need war. No. You would think, no, Ben, there, no, we're done, right? We can, let's try
there won't be a conflict there.
Yeah.
They don't have a standing army for one.
Well, but more importantly, what I'm just trying to say is, everybody's kind of viewing this as, like, well, some certain people are trying to turn this into like a saber rattling or look, he's a dictator. No, what you are forgetting, like, no, he's the president, the commander in chief, looking at our strategic interests. That actually, whether you like it or not, that was owned by America.
Depends on our ability to be able to move.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And dude,
control movement.
Hey, so I would just simply say, if we weren't happy, and now look, this can be turned around. If we weren't happy having nuclear missiles in Cuba, why would we be happy? Why would we be happy with someone like a foreign adversary controlling the Panama Canal? Like that just makes no sense whatsoever, right? Of course we would never. And just conversely, so just for the record, why in the hell would we think one of our adversaries would be happy with us parking nukes in their backyard or cutting off their like duh and are obvious, So I don't know, man. I don't know I don't know why people think that stuff's political, Mark.
I don't know either. I'm just really grateful right now that we have somebody who's taking a stance and trying to put us back to where we should be.
And that should be a position of
strength through peace.
I was just going to say, I was trying to find a way to say that.
I'm a huge believer in that. Hate war, hate everything about it. But
I mean, look, we are, in my humble opinion, we've kind of really stepped away from being that shiny beacon on the hill. That actually means something to me. That is who we are as a people. We, for whatever reason, have allowed ourselves to be separated and put at each other's throats by politicians and propaganda, honestly. So I like that. No, strength through peace, so we can all get back to being human beings. And Elon Musk can try to get something. I mean, how
we can go to Mars.
Seriously, how awesome would it be if we land something more than a rover on Mars in the next, that's one of my, see, I'm going to have to hold this for 10.
What a fantastic moment for humanity, period. All countries, this whole planet rejoice in that. I know they would. It would be a spectacular moment in the history of humankind.
And look, I'm going to admit it. I don't want this, but if Russia or China did it, I would be pissed off.
Just happy.
I'd be pissed off because we
didn't get there first, but I'm still enjoy the moment.
Yeah, and that would be the only, how did we screw up and not get there first? But the fact that human beings are on Mars right now is badass and awesome. God, way to go. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. All for it.
Rock and roll. All right. I'm going to end it with a joke on my side. So one of you guys in the live stream texted me and showed me some pictures. I'm hesitant. Well, here, I don't know if I can do this, but this is their mother, and kind of screwing this up. Or this is their meat bag. Yeah. I don't want to show their private data. Okay. It's not going to work. I'll bring it up some other time. I didn't have time to put it into a slide, so I can't just pop it up on the screen right now, but it's a pretty cool loadout. Just having such a hard time trying to do that without showing somebody's private data. Yeah, I'm going to stop because I think I'm showing somebody's data or info. Anyway, thank you. You know who you are for sending me those pics. Well, actually, you already said you did it. So thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. And on that note, here's because I've just got a whole bunch of new ones and they're too funny. I got to just start reading these off. So here we go. The Husky Bunch is saying later, good night, guys. Hey, you're going to miss this dad joke, Husky Bunch. Here we go. What has 5 toes but isn't your foot? What has 5 toes but isn't your foot? My foot. I don't know. That's just so stupid. It makes me laugh. All right. Hey, you know who you are. Thanks for sharing all the jokes. Give me permission and I'll give you props. I just don't divulging too much personal information for people unless I got permission. So, all right, Mark, give us some final. I got to just always say thank you. I really appreciate you coming on. And again, another just how many clowns can you fit in, one of those pieces of gear? I mean, that was a lot. So really appreciate it. What are your final comments? And then we'll just kind of wrap it up here.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the time to be on here and to talk with you, Mark, and to interact with the people viewing your show. And remember, be the smoking rabbit. Be prepared, carry knowledge, and you will not fear what is coming.
Yeah, he's so confident in his skills. He's sitting down and smoking a bowl of whatever tobacco he's smoking, right?
Be so confident in your skills that you are not afraid.
Yep, right on. Amen, my good man. Amen. Thank you very much for coming on, Valley Reb. Again, on Instagram, very simple. Is it Valley_Reb or is it Valley Reb?
Valley Reb.
Yeah, it's Valley Reb. If you're on Instagram, go check him out. Get yourself a Valley Reb patch, or, the Smoking Rabbit patch. But just check out his account over on Instagram. Guy just takes awesome photos and all kinds. And honestly, Mark, my last plug for you is like what I really like about your content. Should it ever show up in my feed again, Mark Zuckerberg, is, a lot of times you're showing a picture and then I don't know how much time you have, like where you get the time, but and then you're doing this really nice write-up of the history behind it. Like, this was originally used in 17 so-and-so by, Rogers Rangers or whatever, I'm just making that up, but yeah. I really like how you add some of your stuff, you add that historical context. That's really good. Good on you.
Thanks.
So everybody go give him a follow over on Instagram if you are so inclined. All right, everybody. Hey, don't ever be afraid or don't hesitate. If you want to come on and do a loadout, or if you want to see a specific loadout live, or if you've got jokes to share or comment, whatever you want to do, you know the deal. Reach out. That's what I'm here for. I will definitely do the best I can to help you out. We got a couple things coming in the future. So I guess I'm kind of should have done this at the beginning in the housekeeping, but I know I talked about changing these to the loadouts to Wednesday. I didn't really get a lot of feedback from people, so I'm going to make one more announcement because, doing the loadout live Thursday and then the CLS After Dark on Friday, it really does. It's a lot, right? I mean, I'm already past my, old man broken old man bedtime right now. But it does make sense, though, to do it Thursday and Friday. A lot of people take Thursdays. Thursdays are better nights. So maybe the Wednesday doesn't work. So again, if you watch this video on demand and you've made it all the way through the end, that's awesome. I really appreciate it. Give a like, share, follow, whatever. But more importantly, tell me if you guys want these to stay on Thursdays. I'll suck it up, Buttercup, if that's what people want to do, because I've been thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? I know it would be easier for me to do Wednesday, but it ain't about me. And so I think right now I'm probably about 70% we're going to stay on Thursday. 30% we'll switch it to Wednesday. I'll kind of just let you guys decide. And if you want to punish me, then tell me Thursday, and I'll just have to deal with it. So really appreciate it. Mark, any last comments?
Good.
Oh, hey, you got one for you. Gene says he's got his patch on him with him at all times. He's good. So this Gene's got one of your patches.
Love Smoking Rabbit, bro. Thank you.
Right on, right on. All right. A couple people are coming in with like, it's your show, change it. But yeah, it's not really my show. It's for you guys. I mean, my show is once all this goes away and I start making, reverse seared pan fried steak, so searing it and then anyway, so that'll be my show afterwards, is making a nice dinner. So
and you de-thaw it, right?
Yeah, and then I fuck you. That was perfect. All right, everybody, you know the deal. Reach out if you got questions. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night, CLS After Dark. Right now, it's going to be the same guests as last week. So I've got Clint from Nemesis Camo, a former 18 series Special Forces, and then P. Rick, former military, CIA, kind of, got a couple things under his belt. And we're just going to review this first week. And I'll be throwing myself under the bus. I kind of made some statements last week that didn't turn out to be true. Thank the Lord Jesus they didn't. One of the greatest times to be wrong is about that kind of stuff. So, but we're going to kind of go over this week in review. And Mark, and if you even want to pop in or if you're watching or whatever, because we are going to talk about some of those items or issues right there, Panama, some of the statements, things of that nature. So, all right, everybody. Well, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night on CLS After Dark. Same channel, 1800 Central Time. And you know the deal. Keep thinking. Well, Gene, get him ready. Get him ready. Spin him up, Gene. All right, everybody. Keep thinking. Keep moving. Never quit. All right, everybody. Be good. We'll see you tomorrow night.